Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Shooting the Shelf Wednesday one-shots. Oh, I said it correctly. I'm sorry, Curtis.
That's all right.
Our once when day shots. This week, we're going to be talking about a movie that both these are always about stuff we both enjoy, but we both really enjoy this movie from 2001 called A Knight's Tale. Kurt, I remember going with a group of friends in college when I was in college in Springfield, Missouri to see this. Heath Ledger was, the up and coming, I don't even know if he'd been in some things at that point, but he wasn't like a household name yet. I remember going to the theater with a group of friends and just seeing this and just having such a blast. Just kind of because I love historical, action dramas and stuff. And then just the whole twist they put on this where they just had fun with it and kind of leaned into this almost kind of like 70s vibe with everything, with the music and the costumes and stuff. I thought was really cool. But how about you? Do you remember your first encounter with this movie?
Yeah, like I actually didn't know of this movie when it first came out and hadn't really heard of anything about it. And then a couple years ago, my lovely wife Darla said, "Hey, this is one I think we should watch. I enjoy it." And she likes a lot of different movies than I do. A lot of her movies have a very romantic vibe to them, and normally that's not my gig. But she said this is one I think you'll like, and I fell in love with it. It's awesome. And there is a romantic part of this.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's got a medieval thing, it's got action, it's got comedy, and it's got these relationships with people in it that are just like you talk about. I know we all have these friends that we either grew up with or we've met along the way, and all of a sudden you just like you're just, I don't know, you have these shenanigans and different adventures that you do together. And that's how this feels. It's just like a bunch of just buddies moving from town to town and doing these things and going from tournament to tournament. And it's just a ton of fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And yeah, the dynamics between like the crew, the core crew you get together between Heath Ledger, Mark Addy, Alan Tudyk, and
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany, thank you.
Yeah.
Are just so great. And the
blacksmith lady.
Yeah, she's great too.
Kate, is that it?
Yeah, Laura Fraser. The five of them, I mean, the whole cast is great, but like the five of them, like you said, like the three guys start off as like the three guys that grew up together kind of thing, like you were saying. And then you get the weird guy in Paul Bettany that is just like, wow, he's weird. We need his help. He needs our help. I guess we'll do this, and then they get the Kate in, just the bond they form. And just the fact that they kick this movie off with like, spoiler alert, this movie's 23 years old, so I think we can say this. Almost 23 years old.
Yep.
It starts off with their mentor, the knight. They're like the roadies, the squires. Oh, thank you. I forgot we had that. The squires to this knight, and like seeing the whole jousting tournament thing set up as kind of like a tournament circuit. Like you see with people doing like car races and around the world and different things. I was like, man, I never kind of thought about it that way. And he dies at the very beginning of the movie, and then they kick it off with "We Will Rock You" as like the knights come out onto the joust for the first time, and the peasants are like singing along and they're stomping their feet. It's just like, okay, this movie's gonna be fun. Like it looked like a cool action movie, but like they're gonna have fun with this. And yeah, it was definitely a great time with all these characters. And most of these actors was one of the first time, if not the first time, I had seen most of the main cast in anything. And like you said, it's got romance, it's got the action, it's got the buddy road trip kind of thing going on.
Yep.
There's definitely some drama and suspense in some places. Like it's some just killer lines. I know you have a favorite line from this.
Well, I mean a lot of them, but I really in my book, there's only one perfect movie, and the one perfect movie is Princess Bride that has just everything. I just don't know that you could make a better movie than that. This comes real close. This is right on its heels, man. And I'm not going to go too far down this path because we try not to really bash this stuff, but I have a little bit of problem with the love interest, which is a very common thing with this movie. Just kind of how she acts sometimes. But the movie is just the relationships, the people, even the bad guy in the movie, it does such a good job. Paul Bettany, I think this is his best role by far. Like, it's not even close. But I mean, I've seen him in a lot of different things, but he is so freaking good in this movie. Like, kind of as the hype man for the night. And man, I tell you what, if you ever got to a point in your life where you needed a hype man, Paul Bettany, that dude is your hype man, because like, I don't know that there's ever been in any movie a better hype man than him.
No.
Good. Yeah.
I mean, Purple Gang comes close.
Yes, that's true.
But as Bettany as Geoffrey Chaucer, because it's taken from the book, the Canterbury Tales. That's kind of the inspiration for the idea of the movie. And he even, there's some characters that he encounters. He's like, you'll villainize me today, or you'll humiliate me. I'll villainize you throughout history. Or I can't remember all the quotes, but and if you get a chance to watch the DVD or a way to watch the bonus scenes, or the behind the scenes, there's a really cool little making of documentary that has some fun things in it. I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay. I haven't seen that
unless you want me to, but just some great moments in the movie. And
Alan Tudyk is so good in it too, because he plays this character that like is just always kind of angry. And just like just these little things kind of tick him off, and he's always at the edge of just losing it.
He's like a coffee pot or a boiling water that's just on the edge of boiling over.
Yes.
To where he like loses his words, and he's like, I will so much pain.
Yeah.
he just loses our articulation.
Yeah.
And a couple like one of my favorite lines that just pops into my head at random times, and I want to say it to people, but I say enough weird stuff, but I just want to be like, it's called a lance. Hello. Like, I just want to say that to people sometimes. It doesn't make any sense in the conversation, but
I use that anytime that there's been a couple times in my life, well, since I've seen this movie, that I actually have encountered somebody with the name Lance. I actually worked with a guy named Lance, and I must have said that every freaking day. So yeah, it's great. But I mean, there's a whole like father-son story into this.
Yeah.
There's the love interest story. There's the, good guy versus bad guy. There's this thing about, kind of being noble, like what it means to be noble. And then the whole just gang, like how they interact with one another, and the friendship and helping out one another and being there, like when he's gonna go to this spoiler alert, but when he's gonna go to this like fancy like dance, and he has nothing to wear, and he doesn't know how to dance, and they've got to like figure out how to make his costume and how to teach him how to dance, like all in like one night. It's just shenanigans like that. So there's just a lot to this movie. There's a part. Well, how do I do this without my favorite part is at the very end of the movie. I'll just say that there's a very end of the movie. There's a part where, because as Jesse said, in his little spoiler alert, the knight that they're following around dies at the beginning of the movie. So Heath Ledger's character takes it upon himself to pretend he's that knight. And then eventually he kind of creates his own character that he is playing as to enter these tournaments and stuff. And there's a part at the end where he is caught, I guess. And how he gets out of that or what comes of that is really my favorite part of the movie. I just love it so much. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to this, man. There's not. It's a fun ride, like you said. They're incorporating songs, from like Queen and things like that. Like it's, even though it's like a medieval thing, it's not like they're playing like Squire music and stuff. Like they're playing like rock and roll type music.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun time. It really is.
And like you mentioned the bad guy Rufus Sewell, who I'd seen when I saw this. I think Dark City had come out. I know I'd seen him in a couple things, but he plays such a good bad guy. It's not one of those movies where you'd be like, well, from his perspective, that point, it's not one of those wishy-washy. It's like, he's just bad. He's just a bad dude who doesn't care about anybody else except himself and his station.
And very cocky, like bad. And he really feels like he is better than everybody. Yeah.
And to be fair,
he's not afraid to tell people. Yeah.
And he can back it up. He's not all talk either. Like he's actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not just one of those blustery types, but that when without getting into the spoilers about what it is, but when Chaucer gets to do his first like introduction,
yes,
he just goes on and on and on. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like
I know one of yours that I've heard. I've seen you. Yeah, I've seen you say it numerous times, like in chats and stuff. The sound of a whisper. Yeah, I'm like,
he spent a year in silence.
Yeah,
just to better understand the sound of a whisper. I'm like, that is like the cheesiest thing. Like you could get like your wingman to say about you to like make the ladies like.
But he's saying all these like big things, and then all of a sudden. And he gets real soft with it, like the sound of a whisper. Yeah.
And it even gets into, some like class differentiation stuff. Like, and none of these things feel like heavy-handed or forced.
Nope.
Everything's pretty well paced.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with the love story. I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about with the interest and everything. And I'd say the love scenes are the only things, not love scenes, but the romantic storyline is probably the only thing that the scenes are a little bit longer, but not to the point where it makes me uncomfortable or want it to hurry up.
Yeah, my issue is just and I've heard other people say this too, that Heath Ledger's character is the main character of the movie. I feel like he cares a lot more about the woman that he's in love with than she does about him. There are certain situations that she puts him in that are not advantageous. And I feel like that's, if you really cared about somebody, you wouldn't do that. So that's just a little tiny part that kind of irks me, but overall I'm able to overlook that because the rest of the movie is absolutely fantastic. So
yeah, and in a way I kind of like that because it I'm not going to try to change your mind about it, but there's that one particular scene towards the middle of the movie where she changes her mind about something and someone says something, and my friend sitting next to me in the theater just shouted out loud to the audience, like, that's so true. And everybody lost it really even harder.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I get it. It makes sense why it's in there. It just, that would ruffles my feathers a little bit, but
I think, that's fair.
But yeah, it's just so much fun. It's just a really good time. So
yeah. And if you've never seen it, make sure you watch through the end credits. There is a bonus scene at the end of the credits.
See, I don't know if I saw that either. I gotta go.
It adds nothing to the story, but it's just a fun little moment that's literally just like an outtake that they threw in at the end of the movie.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. Because I think I've like pretty much every time I've watched it, it's been on some streaming service or something like that. So I'll have to go and see if I can find
very end of the credits. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I know it's not new. It's not a series. It's not, it's been out for a while. So odds are you've either seen it and love it, or if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I don't know what you're waiting on. Like, we've been talking about this for 15 minutes and it's been out for 20 years. Go watch it. What are you doing?
Yeah. So until next Wednesday, something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.